Throughout the first half of the 20th century, attitudes toward homosexuality in Miami, Florida were similar to that in many other major cities in America. Gay bars frequently cropped up and were just as frequently shut down by authorities. Former patrons of these early gay bars reported that raids would ramp up during election seasons, when police officers would often be accompanied by journalists and cameramen, and closeted queer people would wake up the next morning to see their faces on the news. In 1956, the Florida Legislative Investigation Committee, commonly known as the Johns Committee for its first chairman, Charlie Johns, was established out of opposition to the desegregation of schools. The Johns Committee attempted to go after the NAACP before being stopped by the Supreme Court, after which they set their sights on rooting suspected communists out of Florida schools before getting shut down by the American Association of University Professors. In 1958, they finally successfully pivoted to a new enemy, the gays. In the autumn of 1958, the Johns Committee began to investigate and eradicate LGBTQ plus people from Florida schools. From 1958 to 1965, the Johns Committee targeted thousands of Florida teachers and students, ruining many of their lives and livelihoods. Many of them ended up dying by suicide. Florida, a conservative southern state, has always lagged behind many other parts of the US when it comes to social progress. Parallel to this judicial streak of social conservatism cloaked as anti-communist sentiment in the 1950s and 1960s was, of course, the dawn of the civil rights movement and second wave feminism, netting many important gains for the movements for racial and gender equality. And the Stonewall riots in New York City in June of 1969 signaled the beginnings of the mainstream gay liberation movement in the United States, and queer activism would reach a fever pitch into the early 1970s and throughout the 1980s. By 1976, even Dade County, Florida, was considering an ordinance that would prevent employment and housing discrimination against individuals for their sexual orientation. Though Dade County was home to the moderately liberal Miami, opposition to the ordinance was fierce, with many allegedly commenting that they'd pass gay rights in Florida when hell freezes over. On January 19th, 1977, the day after the Dade County Board of Commissioners passed Ordinance 77-4 prohibiting, quote, the discrimination against persons based on their affectional or sexual preferences, it snowed in Miami, Florida. If hell had indeed frozen over, then one of hell's nastiest little demons was planning her revenge. Miami resident and orange juice saleswoman, Anita Bryant. Welcome back to Respect the Dead, the podcast where we don't.
Sweaty, it's no surprise that everybody celebrated your demise, and now worms are eating your eyes. So don't you worry your rotten head as you sleep in your sodden bed. It's time to respect the dead. It's time to respect the dead. It's time to respect the dead.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one. I've been just standing outside her house in an electrical repair person's outfit, up in the
Just waiting.
up in the tree by her house, just waiting for this girl to drop dead, and she finally did.
She finally did. To celebrate, I am first of all wearing orange bird shirt and orange bird ears, which was like the little cartoon character that Disney invented to fly around with her in orange juice ads. And both of us are drinking Anita Bryant's, which is it's like a screwdriver made with apple juice instead of orange juice. Because
It's disgusting.
You're supposed to be boycotting orange juice.
Rebellion isn't delicious, I will say.
I'm drinking an Anita Bryant, but I'm like wearing Florida Citrus Commission merch. So I'm like the true neutral centrist here.
And I think that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Why be an ally when you could just not?
When you could not. Why be an ally when there's merch?
That's fair. It's really hard to be an ally when stuff that I want.
I mean, like, look how cute these are. It looks like a little slice
It
of
is
orange.
adorable.
And there's the little birdie. He's so cute. I love Orange Bird. I don't have to love Anita. But Orange Bird didn't do anything wrong.
And that's why Orange Bird is still alive and
He didn't
Anita's
choose to be
dead.
born. He was in fact born this way. All right. So let's fucking do this shit.
I'm so excited. We have been getting so many comments.
Constantly.
It's like, "Hey, I know you're on hiatus. Where's the episode?"
Where's the episode? We've talked about her before. Like almost my entire intro was cribbed from a video that we made on your
Yeah,
channel. And then the other part of it was cribbed from a documentary called The Day It Snowed in Miami or something like that. It's very
cute.
cute. Anyway, Anita Bryant was born on March 25th, 1940, which made her an Aries and a later
Mhm.
cohort of the silent generation, the generation born before the boomers. So she's kind of like a sloomer, you know?
'Kay, the silent part would have been real cute on her,
None of
I
them
will
were.
say.
Oh my God. The silent generation were
Is it
so fucking
ironic?
loud.
Is it ironic?
Mhm. They
Okay.
really are the Gen Xers of old people. Just like they never shut up. I guess now the actual Gen Xers are Gen Xers of old people. Anita was, as she described it, born dead, all black and blue and not breathing. Then her grandparents dunked her head into a pan of ice water and poured whiskey down her throat, and she threw up and started breathing.
Um, okay, so that's a demon. That is
Quick, throw some alcohol on it. Put it out. Put
the way she came back wrong.
it out.
Like,
Yeah,
her soul had not, like, gone in it had not flown into her body yet because she came out dead,
right.
and then they resuscitated her,
They got the
and she
wrong
never got
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, she never got one.
Just not at all.
I thought maybe they got one from the wrong place or something. Like
Well, and then when you get baptized, it's supposed to seal it in, but they basically just sealed her
oh,
up
yeah.
empty, like burying an empty
Mhm.
coffin because your husband never came back from war or whatever.
That's
Her
nasty.
body was her body was an empty coffin.
Her body was an empty coffin. It was a beautiful empty coffin. I will say, like most terrible people that we feature on this podcast, they're not cute because like internal ugliness kind of like rots your soul. She's a bit of a Coco Chanel. Like she was pretty and she had style. She did have style. She had that big 1960s hair. I do like that big
Yeah, I've
hair.
only really seen her when she's older, but looking because like most of the photos I see of her are in her pie eating era.
Yeah, and she was like what 40s then, which
Yeah, but
in
oh my
today's
god.
years, yeah,
So
she's
she was
pretty.
I understand a lot about the Florida sun from looking at one of these photos of her.
Yeah.
Homegirl is fruit leather.
Listen,
Absolutely fucking wild.
like, I grew up in Florida, and I mean, part of the
Whew.
reason I don't tan is because I have ginger skin, but the other reason I don't tan is because I grew up in Florida seeing these ladies, and, like, it
Yeah.
ages you in dog years.
Like I just sent you a photo of her and she looks fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, like, back in her, like, beauty queen days.
Absolute
So
stunner.
beautiful, real sense of style, which a lot of them don't have.
They would be transvestigating her now,
Oh,
but
constantly, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, Anita's early life was one of poverty in Barnsdall, Oklahoma, and at the age of 2, her parents divorced, and her father, Warren G. Bryant, joined the Army and went to live on Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City. That same year, she allegedly began singing at the First Baptist Church in Barnsdall. Apparently, she made her debut with a performance of the certified Christian banger, Jesus Loves Me. At the age of 2, like, a little savant, if true.
Okay,
Big if
I
true.
love I love the idea of getting up in front of the church and instead of being like Jesus loves you, it's like Jesus loves me.
Yeah.
He said I was a special girl, daddy's
For the
girl.
Bible tells me so. Like, sure, he likes you guys, but, like, Jesus loves me.
It's again much like the classic preacher's daughter, but it's just daddy's daughter.
Daddy's daughter. Daddy said I'm fucking hilarious and that when I sing, it's gorgeous. But yeah, he likes you too. So she was something of a savant, and by the age of 6, Anita was giving public performances at Oklahoma fairgrounds.
Was she invited?
I think so.
Okay. She's like, "It's a public fair, freedom of speech.
Yeah, freedom of
How
speech,
about
I'm allowed to
freedom of
sing.
song?"
No, I think, people found her charming because they were like, "Look at this little toddler that can, like, skrelt it out." Like, when toddlers are, like, loud, it's adorable.
That's fair.
When Anita was 8, her father remarried her mother, Anise. That was her mom's name, Anise, which I kind of like.
I'm sorry, Anise and
Annice.
Anita?
Anise and Anita. Well, that's clearly where she got it from. Little Annice. Little Anita.
I do like Anise.
Anise. So her father remarried her mom, Anise, when Anita was 8, and Anita was baptized. As an adult, she would describe that as the happiest point of her childhood.
Getting baptized?
Yeah, and mommy and daddy are back together. This is, like, the
Oh,
happiest point
right,
of my
okay,
life.
okay. I was like, when I was being held under, close to death again, my second NDE,
Yeah.
it was the
This is the
happiest I've ever
closest.
been. I've been killing myself every night to try and get that feeling back.
I've spending my whole life chasing that dragon.
Just, like, going into Anita's, like, dressing room on, like, a Florida orange juice commercial, and she's, like, choking herself out in the corner.
Pills everywhere. Baby girl. Throughout her early childhood and into her preteen years, she continued singing and made several local radio appearances. And by the age of 12, she had her own local television show on Oklahoma's WKY station called The Anita Bryant Show.
What?
So she like
No
won a
12-year-old should have
contest.
a show called Their
Their
Name Show.
name. Yeah.
Like Lizzie McGuire, that's reasonable.
The Lizzie McGuire Show.
Like, making the little girl's name the actual, like, household name, like, that's I just find I mean, I hate the idea
Yeah.
of child actors altogether, I think it's, like,
Period.
skeevy as
Yeah.
hell, but this is, like, so weird. Was she, like, a little beauty queen where they're like, "She's gonna
Not
be such a
yet.
heartbreaker"? She was
Not
ugly.
yet.
Okay.
I mean, she was obviously she was a cute
She was a
kid, but
hideous
she
child,
didn't
yeah.
do like pageants until she did one
Right.
beauty pageant. I'll get to that. But she was just a singer. Like she was a performer. She wanted to
Okay.
be on stage.
What was her show? Like a variety show?
I think so. It was
Okay.
and it was local. It was like local access and it was like
Okay, I
the
was
late
picturing, like
40s.
like her being, like, a late night talk
No.
show host. I'm like, "This is so weird."
It was
But, like,
local
okay, she's
access
singing, that makes
channels,
sense.
and
Okay.
she did do like, it was like a local contest, like because it was the late '40s and they were all perverts, so they were like, "Let's find a
She's
cute
such a
kid to put on
local.
TV." She's a local yokel. She seems like she's from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
She's got that Oklahoma stank on her.
She got that Oklahoma stunted expression,
I think that's just a lobotomy, I don't know.
which, honestly, women used to get back then. Sometimes it went well, sometimes it didn't. It didn't go so well for her.
So the same year she had her TV show at the age of 12, her father once again abandoned the family. He, like, ran away again.
My god, did he
He
hate
did
her he hated her so
he
much he left her twice.
It was your fault, Anita. He would have stuck with Anise. It was your fault. Anita's memories of her troubled home life seemed to be formative and painful for her. In an interview with Playboy magazine, she described a deep seated hatred of men stemming from her father's treatment of her mother and pent up anger at her mother for her passivity in the face of his mistreatment.
Based.
But yeah, I know. Hating men on this podcast, we
She's like,
believe that
the only thing I
Black
hate."
Lives Matter, love is love, and hating men is real.
She's like, "I hate men so much, the only thing I hate more than one man is
It's my
2 men
mom.
together."
It's so true. So true, bestie. But do you know what she did love? You know what relationship was rock solid? Her
Her and
relationship
God?
Yeah, her relationship with God. Her
Nice,
relationship
I
with
got
God
it.
was like you are acing this
Good job,
quiz.
Kaylin.
However frustrated Anita may have been with her mother, Anise encouraged Anita's career ambitions as a singer. And by the age of 13, Anita cut her first album. And at 14, she flew to Hollywood for a meeting about a movie contract. But the deal fell through because the studio mogul felt that her big voice was too big for her bitty body.
Mhm.
I don't wanna really listen to recordings of her singing during the main episode, but I do want to make that a big focus of our morgue. So, I guess
Oh,
this is a plug for the
absolutely.
morgue. Sign
Yeah,
up for our Patreon, you get companion episodes to each like, full-length companion episodes to each episode, like, not 2 hours long, but, like, 30, 40-minute episodes to
yeah,
each episode, and in this one, we're gonna be watching a bunch of commercials from working with the Florida Citrus Commission and videos of her singing.
and talking shit, I love that.
And talking shit, and also praising her. Like, I do actually think her voice is beautiful, but I'll save my commentary for the paywall, for behind the paywall. In 1955, Anise remarried and the family moved to Tulsa. Sounds awful. I've never been to Oklahoma, and I probably never will.
What the fuck is Tulsa? Isn't that Elon Musk's company?
Coleslaw?
Okay, coleslaw is delicious, and she will not be slandered on this podcast. You know what I love? Cut up vegetation and a shit ton of vinegar.
And cream.
No,
Okay, so in Tulsa, she became a regular on another local television station. And by the age of 16, she appeared regularly on a national program, Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, it was like America's Got Talent for like 1950s people, which is why the name sucks.
it's like America's Got Talent, but for Arthur Guthrie,
Yeah,
whatever the fuck name
whoever
you
the
just
fuck he
said.
was, whatever little
Tulsa's
elf
Got
that
Talent.
was. Tulsa's Got
That's
Talent.
that's so embarrassing. Were you small town's pumpkin queen or whatever? It was queen of the
Oh,
pumpkin
you
fair that
know
we
she
had every year.
was. You know she was in a parade. You know a parade hates to see that lady
Oh,
coming.
and now whenever she sees any kind of parade, she gets
Mm,
violent flashbacks.
that's what it is.
She's
That's
like,
what it
"I hate
is.
men in parades." So so when those gay people
Hey,
really got going, I
this
don't know,
men
there was
going to
just
parade. She doesn't like it. She's just it's giving I'm understanding like the traumatic background
Yeah.
here. I'm
Well,
empathizing.
she's losing her glory days. She's
Mm,
thinking back on them and being like,
I was young once too.
"Yeah, I used to have a fucking parade. Now what do I have? Kids, skin like a
Kids,
leather bag."
millions of dollars.
More oranges than I could ever eat in my life. I have anti-scurvy right now.
A husband who scraped out some of my brain.
Her getting like her going to the doctor and the doctor being like, "I've never seen this before. You have reverse scurvy. Like you have
Like,
vitamin C poisoning."
you have so much ooh, isn't it like I think vitamin C poisoning is what is part of what can give you, kidney stones, right?
Oh, really?
I think if you have too much vitamin C or maybe it's too much calcium, it's one of the vitamins. If you have too much, it's like you are
Cal
pissing rocks, honey.
Knowing nothing, I'm gonna say it's probably calcium
It's probably
because that looks
calcium.
like something that could be a little rock. I eat Tums, and those are basically like little rocks.
So true. Maybe vitamin C just, like, makes you shit a lot. I know you're not supposed to take because you can get those, like, vitamin supplements. You're not supposed to take
Mhm.
too many of them, but, like, when I get a cold, I take, like, a fistful, and then I shit my brains out.
Do you wanna know that that's like a horrible lie? Vitamin C when you're sick, or do you wanna just keep going
Oh,
with
I
the
do know that.
placebo? Okay.
I'll keep going with placebo.
I
Zinc,
do
I
know that,
think,
I
is
just
actually
love shitting.
I just love taking a bunch of gummies and shitting my brains out.
Okay, the 2025 lobotomy, where now you're not allowed to get a lobotomy, so we're just slowly shitting out chunks of our own brains.
It's gorgeous.
I know.
And my asshole is so tight because I have not made a solid movement in years. So, she was only 18 when she won the Miss Oklahoma beauty pageant and became second runner-up in the 1959 Miss America pageant, and hit platinum on her rendition of "Till There Was You." Like, 18,
Wow.
she had a platinum record, and her besties were like, "Hey, you should do a beauty pageant," and she, like, wins Miss Oklahoma and then becomes second runner-up at Miss America.
She's
So she had
like
talent.
Puritan Lana Del Rey.
Oh my god, she so is. I bet Lana Del Rey got some of her, like, style from her like, I think she's trying to evoke her a little bit,
Oh, a little,
especially in the
yeah.
'70s with her bell sleeves, like and She was only 19 when she married her husband, Miami DJ Bob Green, and moved to Miami, Florida. Bob Green was 9 years older than Anita, and she'd cite in their eventual divorce proceedings in 1980, he was also very emotionally abusive.
They had that in common.
Yeah. He immediately took control of her career as her manager. Anita toured regularly with Bob Hope's USO show and became a household name as a spokeswoman for brands like Coca Cola, Holiday Inn, Kraft, and most famously, the Florida Citrus Commission. She starred in a very famous series of ads for Florida orange juice with the tagline, "A day without orange juice is like a day without sunshine."
There's
So,
okay.
what were you going to
There's
say?
there's just so many days without sunshine, and that's okay.
Oh my God, yeah, you
We
live
don't
in
want the
Canada.
crops to burn, bitch. Like,
There's
a
not a lot
day
of days without
a day
sunshine
without
here.
orange juice is a day in a world without seasons. It's like, that sounds
Yeah, we
horrible.
have that here, and it was on fire a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I guess it's as good a tagline for orange juice as you're gonna get.
Shortly after they moved to Florida in 1963, a gynecologist told Anita Bryant and Bob Green that Anita was barren, and they adopted a son and named
Did he
him
say the
Bob
word
Jr.
barren?
Yeah, it was 1963.
Oh, right, of
He was
course.
like, "That woman's uterus is a fucking desert. It's like
Oh,
it's a cement
absolutely.
uterus." He was
He
like, "There's
leaned
no
he leaned
life."
down and was like, "Hello, hello, hello."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he left, and then he told Bob that he could divorce her if he wanted. They're like, "We
Legally,
don't."
you can get this annulled.
Yeah. He was like, "We don't have no fault divorce yet, but she's at fault, so it's fine."
Well, they didn't have like no men's fault divorce yet.
No, woman's fault divorce. And he was like,
Yeah,
"She's also an old hag. She's like, what, 21 now?
yeah.
You could divorce her and
She
marry one of those hot 16-year-olds."
This little bird hit that wall like 3 years ago at 17.
The year after they adopted Bob Jr., Anita gave birth to a daughter, Gloria.
Yeah,
So,
the thing about medicine back then is that it was mostly guessing.
yeah, he made a sexist joke on her behalf, and she didn't laugh. And he was like, "Well, you're barren. You're not having kids.
How's that,
You
bitch?
frigid
How about
bitch.
that? How
How do
about
you
you
like
being
that?"
barren? Okay, being a doctor who just, like, makes up symptoms and conditions for people based on
Based on
the
their
attitude
vibe.
that they give you, like, when I worked at Starbucks and the quality of your drink depended on the attitude during your order.
Oh my God, that'll be you when you're a doctor one day.
Mhm. Okay, I would be so mad if I was adopted and then they had, like, a natch baby after me, their little miracle baby.
Yeah, I
Like,
wonder what Bob thought. Luckily, okay, so it'd be much worse if it was just like the miracle baby after. But 5 years after giving birth to Gloria, she ended up having twins, William and Barbara. So
oh
not
god,
only
okay, so
was she
yeah.
not barren, she was able to pop out multiples. Like, this
She was
doctor was,
anti-barren.
yeah, she was fertile even.
She's fertile as hell. She got
Fertile
doubles
as
in there.
hell. Yeah, she's popping out litters.
She's got not a litter.
A
Not
litter
a
of pups.
litter. Her laying on a towel on the living room floor as all of her puppies nurse from her. It's just like
Okay. Okay. So, total sidebar, and she won't care about me talking about this, but, like, one of my mom's best friends from when she worked at the airline was a lady named Shelly, who's fucking hilarious. I love her so much. Painting the picture here, Shelly has big old titties. She doesn't even
okay.
try on bras. She puts them over her head, and if the cup comes down below her ears, she knows it'll fit her big old titties. So, I think this was after she had her third child. Like, after giving birth to one of her kids, if you don't get rid of the milk while you're producing, like, you can get infections. It happens with dairy cattle a lot. And she like, her boobs were so full of milk and she was so sore. First, she filled up the entire fridge with bottles in addition to, like, feeding her son. Then she fed all the neighborhood cats. And they were still so full, and her husband was friends with a dairy farmer, and she was like, I need you to come over and help me. I need you to get rid of this milk for me." And he was like, "Okay, I guess." Like, he asked her husband, he was like, "Are you okay with this?" And he was like, "Yeah, her boobs hurt." And she she not only had him come over and milk her, when he came over, she got down on all fours. She was like, "Have at
What
it."
the is this in
She's like,
Florida?
"Milk me." Yeah, of course it is.
This explains so much about Ethel Kane.
She's such an icon. I
This
love her
this
so
is where
much.
you grew up?
This is where I grew up. Yeah, this is
You're
like why I am the way I
surprisingly
am.
normal.
I'm very well adjusted.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
I get a lot about Ethel Kane. It's like her kind of Southern Gothic is a very specific kind of Southern Gothic that's like a little
It's like white
trashy.
trash. White
Yeah, and
trash
that's
Southern
Florida.
Gothic.
That is a Florida,
Wow.
baby.
What
Yeah.
a horrifying story that you told like it was supposed to be funny.
To a public audience. I think it's fucking hilarious. As
Well,
somebody
yes,
who's
I'm
not
sure
gifted
you
enough
do.
to
You're
live
from
in
fucking
Florida.
Florida.
That dairy farmer sorted her out though, and I'm sure he got some milk out of it.
As a nearly lifelong vegan/vegetarian, I do not support this dairy farmer.
Mhm.
That's terrifying.
Well,
The
it's
fact
technically
the
not
fact
animal
that
products.
her being like, "I know a guy,"
Yeah,
is
I know a guy who can
I
sort
got
this
too
out
much
for
milk,
me.
I know a guy.
You gotta get milked. You gotta get milked by
Did
a
he use, like, one of
professional.
those pails?
I don't know. I do know she got down on all four. I don't know if she stayed on all fours or if she just did that as a
If
joke.
it was
Because,
just a
like I said,
bit?
she was
Yeah.
funny. She's the kind of lady who'd do bits.
Which okay, so she was funny intentionally.
She was funny intentionally,
Okay.
yeah.
That's less weird. I thought she was just
But he
like,
did milk her.
"This is how he does it."
He did milk her because she was like,
Him
"I'm gonna
having
get
to,
an
like, get on the
infection."
floor with her?
Surely she stood up
Oh,
because, like, just a lady on all
yeah.
fours, it's not the same as, like, you just don't have the same room as you do with a cow, you know?
That's true.
Their legs are
Cows have very
longer.
long legs, yeah.
It's so true. They're very leggy. Anita Bryant's career as the primary breadwinner of the family, bringing in over 1 million a year, chafed against her identity as a good Christian housewife and the expectation to also be the primary child rearer of their family of six. And in 1974, following the deaths of her grandfather and two of her friends, she suffered a nervous breakdown. So she's like, not only like she's earning millions a year in today's money. It was like over 1 million in 1960 or 70 money. And because she and her husband are such like weird little conservatives, he's like, "I'm not gonna raise our 4 kids. You do it." And then she has a nervous breakdown.
And as she should.
As is right. On this house, we support the nuclear family.
It's 8,000,000
8
today.
millions in
Yeah.
today's. So she was making a little over 8 million in today's money
Damn.
a year. Like, she's doing pretty good
Just to
for
get
herself.
milked?
Just to
I
get
I've
milked.
I've all of the stories are blending together in my head.
Anita Bryant down on all fours.
Getting milked by your mom's friend's neighbor.
Florida is like it's a really unique place. Everybody should visit just once.
No, that's okay.
She recovered in a Christian therapy group in California because the therapy groups in Florida weren't good enough. And then published a book about her newfound devotion to her husband that sold over 1 million copies. So she like went to this like Christian therapy center after having a mental breakdown in part because like her husband was like making her do everything. And while in therapy, she was like, "I'm so devoted to my husband now. I'm going to be a better wife to my husband who isn't doing
What's
shit."
what's the book called?
I can't remember. She published a lot of books.
Oh, really? Okay, I
And
didn't know that.
they were all sold in like Christian stores.
Gross, okay.
Mhm.
We call those
I think that
churches, by the way.
there's, like, Christian stores too. They're usually, like, in a rotted out, like, store in a, like,
Yeah.
supermarket strip mall.
I would go to them when I was a kid into, like, the specifically, like, Catholic ones that were usually run by, like, somebody's nonna, and they would sell,
Mm,
like, communion
that's
wafers
cute.
and, like, gifts for, like, your first communion or your confirmation or baptism or whatever. Because
Mm.
like, you need to get one that's honoring God in the right way, and the
Right.
drugstores or the, like, grocery stores didn't necessarily have those, and because I was in
Mhm.
a Catholic school, like, and all of our family were Catholic, it was like, "Well, I gotta go
That
back
makes
down to
sense.
the Catholic, like, Holy Sacrament gift store." Which is like,
Mm.
really, you're I guess that's a business model. There's enough Catholics running around and
There's enough people to keep you rich. That's what Joel Osteen does.
oh god.
Although I guess he's selling in, like, Barnes& and Nobles and stuff too, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that was her audience. Should we take, like, a quick little ad break?
Yeah.
Maybe get some ads for some Christian books
Or
about
for some
honoring your
apple
husband?
juice, which I'm gonna go get more of.
Sip on your Anita Bryant and have a little break. And we're back. So, as I said, in late 1976, the Dade County Board of Commissioners was considering an ordinance that would make it illegal to discriminate against people for housing and employment based on their sexual orientation. In later interviews, Anita Bryant would kind of like gild the lily a little bit, like they always do, and claim that she first heard about the ordinance passing from her pastor and that she was on a mission from God to repeal it. Like God came down and told her afterwards, like, you have to stop this. But actually, Anita knew about it long before the ordinance was passed because her theatrical agent, a man named Richard Shack, was married to the commissioner who originally sponsored it, Ruth Shack. Ruth and Anita were apparently like really good friends. And according to Ruth, before she voted to pass the ordinance on January 18th, 1977, Anita met with her and begged her not to vote for it. And they both ended their friendship over it. And Richard dropped Anita as a client,
Oh,
which is
damn.
like, that is allyship right there. Like your best
Yeah.
friend is like, no, please be a homophobe with me. And you're like, oh, I guess this is like our friendship over because I'm voting for this. Like I sponsored it too.
Nice.
Ruth was the one who was like, we're gonna pass this ordinance. Immediately following the passing of Ordinance 77-4, Anita Bryant, Bob Greene, and a number of conservative politicians formed a grassroots movement to collect 10,000 signatures that would force a vote on Dade County Ordinance 77-4, so the voters get to weigh in. So this was like a thing that just the Board of Commissioners voted on, but now that it's been added to the ballot, um,
Yeah.
I, when you collect the signatures, you can add it to the ballot, and then the voters get to vote on it. And they named their coalition. Everyone say it with me. Save Our Children
No,
Incorporated.
I don't want
Save Our
to.
Children Incorporated.
The Incorporated is so funny.
Save
It
Our
makes it sound
Children
so much
Company.
less like they're trying to save children and more like, an
They're trying
evil
to, yeah.
corporation.
More like they're trying to raise money that they can pocket, maybe. Save Our Children's strategy in relatively liberal Miami, where women as a voting bloc opposed repealing the bill 2-1, was to reframe homosexuals as dangerous predators who were amoral, promiscuous, and a special risk to young children. We love this song. They
Never
remake it
gets
every
old.
few years and never gets old. It's a real banger. In a move strikingly similar to the don't say gay tactics being employed in Florida at this very moment, Anita repeatedly conflated gay people with child molesters in her speeches, a rhetorical tactic that forced the gay community to continually play defense, countering the misinformation that Bryant was putting into the zeitgeist. Bryant also frequently utilized the slippery slope argument, stating, if gays are granted rights, next we'll have to give rights to prostitutes and to people who sleep with St. Bernards and to nail biters. And if we label homosexuality a civil rights issue, what is to stop the murderer from shouting murderers' rights?
I love that in her mind, nail biters shouldn't have rights either.
Yo, she has like got it out for nail biters. Like she brings up nail biters and murderers again in the Playboy interview. Like she fucking hates people who bite their nails.
3 people I hate: people who bite their nails, gays, murderers.
I gotta see her actually, let's look at the picture that you sent. She does have nice nails. She's got nice long nails.
Yeah, she does. Oh, yeah, you know what? She probably sees it as, like, wasted potential.
Mhm. She's like, "If you bite your nails, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Have long
God
nails the way
didn't
God intended."
God didn't intend you to be a fucking cannibal, chewing on
Yeah.
yourself.
You sick freak. So, yeah, this is why, like, it is her organization, but the reason she and her husband and all of their, like, Republican donors made her the face of this movement is because, specifically in Miami, women voters supported the ordinance 2 to 1. So, like, women were like, "Yeah, you shouldn't discriminate against gay people." So the idea was like, we got to get a woman out there to scare other women into thinking that gay people are actually a threat so that
Yeah.
they go back on their support. Anita Bryant's Save Our Children campaign thrust the issue of gay civil liberties into the national spotlight and directly led to the formation of Jerry Falwell's moral majority. So, a lot of modern Republican culture is like, she's the grandmother of a lot of
Yeah.
modern Republican culture. Around the country, conservatives rallied behind Anita and Save Our Children, and queer people and their allies rallied behind Ruth Shack and Miami gay activist Bob Kunst, who became the de facto face of Anita Bryant's opposition. He's
And
the
whom we
guy
love, who
we
we
love him.
stan.
We showed so many clips of him
I
in
fucking
our
love him.
documentary. He
Yeah.
rocks. He's still kicking. He's still kicking. And what I love about him so much is he's just one of those, like, mean boomer gays who, like, doesn't
Mhm.
give a fuck. And even to this day, he's like, "I don't give a shit what you think of me. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to." He's like one of those, like, "You don't have to tolerate me, actually, but, like, I pay my taxes too, so what
Yeah,
are you gonna
eat
do about
shit.
it? I'm allowed to be
Yeah.
here." Like, I actually don't want your love and acceptance, but legally, you can't do anything about me. Again, just like Ron DeSantis is doing right now, Anita focused her fear mongering most pointedly at gay teachers in schools, perpetuating the falsehood that gay people sought to recruit children to their sinful homosexual lifestyle, saying, "The recruitment of our children is absolutely necessary for the survival and growth of homosexuality. For since homosexuals cannot reproduce, they must recruit, must freshen their ranks."
This is so stupid to me just as a concept,
Mhm.
because it's like, we all know that's clearly not how gay people work. Gay people
You're just like, you're born that way, you're not made
Yeah, and, like, even if you weren't born that way, even if it, like, happens at some point in your
in a
life, like,
later life.
some
Yeah.
some chemical, like, switch gets
You eat
flipped
enough
or
soy.
whatever. Yeah.
You drink enough fluoride in the water, and you become
Like, it's
gay.
just you don't need to reproduce. It's like she's speaking about gay people like a race.
Mhm.
Like, "Oh, well, they'll just die out." And it's like, "No, the thing about gay people is we show up everywhere, like
Yes.
like ants or
That's scary to her,
flies."
though. When San Franciscan gay activist and politician Harvey Milk traveled to Florida to show his support for the queer activists fighting Anita Bryant's campaign, he began his speech with the joke, "My name is Harvey Milk, and I'm here to recruit you," which I think is based.
Funny as hell, and when we do that now, it gets talked about for the next, like, 30 years. They'll be like, "They said the quiet part out loud, they're just saying
Yeah,
it.
I
They're just
know.
saying it right now." It's like, "No, sorry, I don't know if you know this, but gay people are funny."
Gay people are hilarious.
I hate her. I hate her and her helmet hair.
I hate her so much. I do kinda like her helmet hair, but it wouldn't look good on me, my forehead is too big. For so many queer youth, opposition to Save Our Children was their first time organizing, and one of their first acts of resistance was to boycott Florida orange juice.
Cute.
Gay bars around the nation stopped serving screwdrivers and instead offered an alternative made with apple juice that they called the Anita Bryant. Here we go. Cheers. Cheers. Mine is
Ting.
organic. It's basically a health
Mine's not.
tonic. I'm drinking it in the bottle because I just want people to know that I spent like $8 for this.
Well, that's the
Because I
point of
still have
the $8 bottle.
Yeah. Because I still have $8 right now. I won't for long now that Trump is making tariffs, but
I spent my last $8 on organic apple
on organic
juice.
apple juice for a bit. And that's iconic. And when I'm
Yeah,
dead, I hope you talk about it.
we will on this podcast.
Mhm. With your new co-host. In response to the outcry, the Florida Citrus Commission canceled their $100,000 a year contract with Anita, with many other companies following suit. What's $100,000 a year in
On it.
1977 money?
100,000,
100,000.
520.
Oh my god. Even, like, just 100,000, like, in
Yeah,
today's money, like,
wild.
that's, like, a good salary. You spend, like, a week recording ads, and then you're good, you're
I
done.
know, that's the thing. If you're working, like, 15-hour days, 7 days a week, not great
Not
money.
great.
Like, if you're, like,
Yeah.
a lawyer or something, like
No, yeah.
but if
But
you're
100
singing
thou
some songs about orange juice or whatever for, like, a couple days a
literally,
year,
like
that's
yeah.
good money.
You record maybe, like, 3 ads that they do throughout the year and then maybe, like, a couple of special holiday ads.
I sing about
I would do that.
orange juice and am homophobic for free. Like
Are you listening, Florida Citrus Commission? You are losing money right now. Around the country, conservative politicians began to propose legislation that would ban gay people from schools, including California's
Ugh.
Prop 6. See, this is it. Like, it takes one asshole and they all get ideas.
Okay, as a gay child, I would have loved to have been banned from school. Like, "Oh, no, I have to stay home and read Animorphs?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I have to make my own lunch in my Easy
Oh.
Bake Oven?" They're
If we
banning,
go
like,
to
teachers, though, so,
yeah.
like, that
And
sucks.
also, if we lean too hard on this joke, a bunch of illiterate Zoomers are gonna start voting for Republicans, so
They're like, "Wait, when the Republicans say they're gonna destroy the Department of Education, does that mean I don't have to go
is
to school?"
that a good thing for me?
Yeah, 7-day weekends.
Yay. Okay, so one of these proposed pieces of legislation was California's Proposition 6, introduced by Republican John Briggs. Prop 6's sole vocal conservative opponent was, ironically, Ronald Reagan. And because of him, the
What was she
proposition failed
doing?
to pass.
What
He
was
was
her
like
problem?
he was, like, early in I guess, like, he did technically have gay friends. He just ignored them when they were
Mhm.
dying during the AIDS crisis. Well, he ignored the
Classic
ones who
friend
weren't his
behavior.
friends. He ignored the ones who weren't his friends during the AIDS
Yeah.
crisis, and then when Rock Hudson died, he suddenly cared.
Wasn't he, like, real cute with, what the hell's his name? I did, like, a three-parter on this old ass fuck, the lawyer.
Oh, yes, 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 he was. Oh my god,
They
why
were
am I
cute
forgetting
together,
his name too?
right?
With the frog room, yes.
Yeah. The things that we remember. I
Oh my
wanna
god, he's a
say
household
Cohen.
name. Yes, but not Leonard.
I did wanna say Leonard Cohen. Hold on.
Roy Cohn.
Resp
Roy
respect
Cohn.
the
It's Roy
dead
Cohn.
dot live. Roy Cohn.
Yeah, I think they were cute, and they were best friends with Rock Hudson. Also, Nancy had a bunch of gay friends because that's who she went to get, like, her hair done.
Goated.
Yeah. So, he was, like, the sole vocal opponent who was like, "This sucks," and because he was, like, a famous actor, all of the California Republicans were like, "Wait, you're right, this does suck, I'm voting against this," and it failed to pass. So, like, rare
Not
W
him
for
getting
Ronald
up across
Reagan.
from Anita and being like, "This sucks more than those faggots you hate."
But that's all it takes. That's all it takes to convince the median voter.
No, literally, you just need somebody to be like, "This is stupid. Can we focus on something else?"
Yeah.
And then people are like, "This is stupid. Yeah, we should focus on
We should
something
focus on
else." It's so easy to lead Republicans.
You literally just need someone handsome and rude.
And honestly, usually that works on me too. Was young Reagan handsome?
He was an actor. He's not my type, but he was, like,
Oh yeah, he looks
50s
like
handsome.
yeah, he looks like that 50s like everyman kind of shit.
Yeah. Not my
Yeah, okay.
type. My type of old-fashioned conservative is Jimmy Stewart. I would let Jimmy Stewart do rotten things to me.
What the hell
Should we
is a
take another
Jimmy
app?
Stewart? Yeah,
You remember from It's
let's
a Wonderful Life?
let's
Let's
get
take a
ads
break while
for
you find out
Jimmy
who Jimmy
Stewart.
Stewart
What
is.
Jimmy Stewart young shirtless. Why is this in color? Have there been other Jimmy Stewarts?
Anthony Perkins, too.
Was
Anthony
he in
Perkins
Rear
got, like, a little gay
Window?
vibe. Yes. And It's a Wonderful Life.
I've never seen it.
That's insane.
One of the things that's almost always true about me is if there's something that you're assuming that literally everybody has seen, I've never
You
seen it.
haven't?
No. I'm not
It'd be
trying to be,
so
like,
funny if that was a bit,
different.
it'd be hilarious. But
It's
it's
just like
not a I know it's not a bit.
people are like, "You wanna watch It's a Wonderful Life?" And I'm like, "That's okay, I'm watching Josie and the Pussycats already."
Oh, you would
No,
hate it. It's black and
I
white, and it's, like, 2.5 hours long.
oh, I do not do black and white. I do not. No art has ever been in black and white.
I think there's, like, a colorized version of it, but, yeah, it's, like, black and white and 2.5 hours long. But he's hot and skinny and,
He
like,
is hot.
6'3".
He looks like he could be a podcaster,
Oh, for sure.
which is the hottest thing in the world.
Anthony Perkins is another one, also skinny and, like, I think lanky
It's the
and
straight
kinda
twinks.
yeah.
That's what you're into, straight
I'm
twinks.
into straight twinks. And
Yeah.
Anthony Perkins is like, Jimmy Stewart is definitely very hetero, but Anthony's definitely got, like, a little queer vibe to him, and I just find that hot. I like it when they get
You
a
know
little
what?
fruity with it.
We'll get in the car. I'll yell something out the window. If he turns, we'll know for sure. How about that?
Alright, let's go to break. We're back. We're here, we're queer. We're talking about Anita, I fear. Anita's
She's dead, by the
anti-gay
way.
camp she's dead. She's dead. That's why she's on this
Just
podcast.
I just feel the need to point that out because every time you bring her up, I get irrationally angry again. And well, I feel like I get rationally angry, but then I
Yes.
get to tell myself like, "Oh, but she's dead." Because
Yes.
when we started that video together, I had assumed she was dead because she
No.
was in black and white.
I broke
There
the news to you.
Yeah, it was very
I was like, "She's
upsetting.
still kicking." Because terrible people live for so long.
Yeah.
Terrible people
So
always
it was
have
a
good
real
health
joy
care.
when we got the news. I actually opened a bottle of champagne that night
Oh,
with my friend
cute.
Brona, and we
Oh,
had
hi,
Anita's dead
Brona.
champagne.
Go check out Brona's channel.
Brona
What's it
is
called?
gay.
Brona is gay, that's it. Anita
Anita
would
would have
hate that.
hated her.
Yeah. Brona's hilarious.
So funny. When I die, Brona will be taking over on this podcast for me.
Oh my god, so cute. Who's gonna
Yeah.
take over for me?
I think you'd still probably be alive.
Okay.
I was assuming just I
Well,
would
that's
die.
good. It
I
could
fall
really
down a
be
lot.
either one of us at any point.
That's fair. You go running. You're gonna get
Yeah.
snatched. The
I
snatchers are
sure
gonna get
am.
you.
But when I disappear, you're gonna get
The
so
killer.
much money and attention.
Oh my
The
god,
killer.
the true crime podcast I make about your disappearance is gonna be
Mm,
so fucking good. You would have loved
it's
it.
gonna go so hard. Yeah, I would
R.I.P.
have.
Hoots. You would have loved not dying for my fame.
I mean, before the killer kills me, I'll probably be able to stream a little bit of it when I'm still
Yeah, I
missing.
need you to send me a voice note and be like, "He's coming to get me. The killer is," and
Mhm.
then that'll be the intro to the
And
new
not tell.
podcast.
Not tell. Yeah.
No, and you're
I
not
probably
even
won't
dead
know
either.
anyway.
You just want me to work for it. You're like still like sitting there for 5 minutes before he gets in.
I'm like, anyway, the food here sucks.
The key to solving the puzzle is you need to remember that.
Meanwhile, I have a phone that's like fully charged and it's an iPhone. So at any point, I could call the cops or you could do like find my phone. Like,
No, no, I couldn't. Well, I wouldn't. It's it's invasive.
but the content, it is. It's weird. I've said
I
that.
trust
I've said I
you.
don't like it. I don't like it when people
Yeah.
put on location sharing with their friends. I don't think it's appropriate.
See, what would mine like? It would be so depressing if I had
You're
location
just
sharing
like
on. You're like, oh, Kaylin's at home. Hasn't moved in the past couple years.
Me texting you like, "Hey, honey, do you wanna, like, walk around maybe?"
Yeah, hey, you wanna get off the couch? All of my
You
steps
watching
are going
me
to the bathroom, running around the city.
but, you watching me running the same fucking route every time, like a fucking
No,
dog
you
taking herself for a
don't.
walk.
The
This is
killer
why I
gonna
don't
get you so good.
this is
You're
why I
like, "You
don't
know what
share
I
my map
love?"
on Strava.
You know what I love? I love going out alone as a woman in America,
Taking the same
putting
route
in
every time.
headphones and
The
taking the
same day.
same route every time at the same time of day. Whew.
No, legit, that's part of the reason I have the ones that don't go inside your ear because I need to be able to hear when somebody's
Yeah,
behind me.
you gotta hear the heavy footsteps of a man.
I gotta put a
Jesus
burst of speed
Christ.
on.
Yeah. Oh god, that would be so annoying. Imagine someone trying to fucking kill her, trying to catch you. You're like a little fast little mouse. Just like,
Bye, bitch.
yeah, no,
It's
I
not
gotta
worth the
find a slower,
trouble.
dumber
There are
bitch.
slower girls. There are slower girls. Anita's anti-gay campaign wasn't just remember when we were doing this podcast? Anita's anti-gay campaign wasn't just having an effect on the nation, but on her own home. In the
Which is
Playboy
in the
interview,
nation.
which is part of the nation, unfortunately. In the Playboy interview, she states, "There was one point where our daughters, Gloria and Barbara, told me that they didn't want to hold hands with their little girlfriends anymore. They were afraid people would think they're homosexuals. I had to sit down and talk to them. I told them in very practical terms that that
Gays
had
can't
nothing to
be
do with
girls can't be
homosexuality."
homosexuals.
Yeah,
That's just meant
girls
to
don't like
be.
sex. I told them in very practical terms that that had nothing to do with homosexuality, and then I talked to our other kids individually to make sure their views in regard to their friends weren't warped. You know how kids are. They tease kids who have effeminate qualities. They harass them. So she's turning her kids into little homophobic monsters.
That's how kids are. That's how your kids are.
Yeah, that's how your
Because of
kids are.
you and your
Because of
behavior.
you. Yeah. You
You know
know
how
how
my
kids
kids
are.
are.
Afraid to hold hands because mommy might think they're gay, as all kids are.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to say how she's better than the militant homosexuals harassing her family because she and her husband call them homos around their children, but not the F slur. She's like, I
Okay.
would never say that word, but homo is okay.
Being number 1, I do not believe her. Like,
No,
let's
100%.
let's start the fuck there. 2, I would rather, if you're gonna be homophobic, that you just be homophobic.
Just say it. Say
I
what
don't
you want
have
to say.
dancing around it, militant homosexuals, which number 1, hot.
Based.
2, like, she's calling them militant and they're just like, "I don't wanna be fired.
Yeah. I just don't want to have
I
to
don't
deal with
wanna be
housing
evicted."
discrimination.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, "God, you're so unwilling to compromise with whether or not I make you homeless for no reason." Like, "Yeah, babe."
also, 77-4 was intentionally vague. It was like, you cannot discriminate against people based on their sexual preference or affectional preference, which could also be applied to straight people. Like, what if a bunch
Yeah,
of rich gays bought up a bunch of housing and they were like, I'm not going to lease to anybody except gays?
which is what I would do.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
That would have been our activism. It's like, no straight people allowed.
When I become a K landlord, like,
The
I'm
only good landlord.
I will absolutely be discriminating. I will be discriminating left, I will be discriminating right. Every straight person that comes in, I will
And
spit on them.
we will cut this part out of the episode for your eventual court case.
Everybody, nobody in that court is gonna know how to download a YouTube video. We're so safe, we'll just
Absolutely
cut
the
it
fuck
out.
not. In jury selection, we are only getting sweet old ladies.
Yeah, and honestly, the only other witness is you, and according to the law,
I'll just
a
lie.
podcast co-host cannot be made to
Mm.
testify against
I'm
another
like
podcast
basically a
co-host.
wife. I'm
Yeah.
basically your wife. In the eyes of the law.
The most sacred sacrament, podcast co-hosts.
So true. It's actually a much closer bond, much closer legal and social bond than marriage.
And the divorce is much more messy too.
Oh, so true. There's Reddit threads for days. Speaking of those militant homosexuals, following the successful repeal of 77-4 in June of 1977, and an additional piece of legislation banning gay Floridians from adopting children, those militant homosexuals began ramping up activity. Activists would regularly mail Anita Bryant and her family gay porn, packages full of shit, like literal human shit.
Well, after you douche, where's it going?
Exactly. Death threats and bomb threats. And
Amazing.
in an interview for a really good documentary that I kind of mentioned up at the top about the queer liberation movement that sprung out of opposition to Save Our Children in Florida the day it snowed in Miami, Anita's son, William, so her bio son, not Bob Jr., who they adopted. I just want to get that out there, not that adopted freak Bob. Anita's son, William, recalls regularly coming home to bomb threats, which he described as scary, but, and I quote, I get it though.
Okay, iconic. He was like, "Listen, I called some of them in myself." He's
He's
just,
like,
like, standing
yeah.
in his room being like, "Bring, bring, bring, bring," and she picks up the phone, he's just, like, on the other line in the house speaking over the dial tone. "We're gonna blow this place up unless you make 3 sandwiches."
Oh, iconic,
I get it,
adorable.
though.
I get it though. Yeah, it was scary coming home from school and not being allowed in because the bomb squad was out front. I get it though.
Well, it happens. Whomst amongst us hasn't come home to find a gay bomb squad?
Oh my god. You know the gay bomb squad was, like, wasting taxpayers' dollars in the cutest way, just
Oh my god, which
standing around
wire
for
do I cut? I don't
hours.
know. Which wire do you cut? I like that one. That one's cute. Don't touch that one. I like the pink one.
That's not pink, that's mauve, Gerald. This
Why
is
do
why
we
I
even
don't invite you
invite
out
him?
anymore.
Not both of us just immediately being like, "Oh, we found out who our target is. Time to bully him." Why are you even invited? Nobody even likes you. The only reason we used to keep you around is because you were the designated driver, but since you started drinking again, we have no reason
It's
for you to
not
be
fun
here, Gerald.
anymore.
Yeah.
Activists would print out giant posters of Anita Bryant, Hitler, and Idi Amin and hang them up together at marches.
Okay, in line with that, with my ancestors, that is a very much what the Magdalene Burns episode thumbnail looks like.
It's a good
It
strategy. Like,
it's a
that's just,
long
like, marketing.
it's a long
Marketing
storage
101.
tradition. Like,
Marketing 101. Just make a
put the
Hitler
person you hate
comparison.
next to Hitler.
And as a result, Hitler comparisons became, like, de rigueur in the media. Like, everybody was like, "Anita, Anita Hitler." Oh my god,
Amazing drag name.
AH. Same initials. I mean, I guess
Oh my
same
god, what do you
initials
think
with
it
me
means?
too, but I
I
guess that they're Hitler,
was
and I'm
like,
gay
"Wait."
Hitler.
I was like,
AH.
"H." I was like, "Oh,
We need to
wait,
find out all
no."
their middle names stat
I'm
because
like,
I'm
"Hoots doesn't
AKH.
start with an A," and I was like, "Kaylin, you know this." Think.
This is why I go by my last name.
I know it's hard, but think.
My
Gorgeous. Well,
middle name is a
I hope
K
it doesn't mean
though.
anything, but okay, that's different.
Yeah. So, it's fine.
Who who
My
who has
my
ever had a initial K and been problematic?
not Hitler, I presume.
Adolf Ketamine Hitler. It's
No!
gorgeous.
Ketamine is a beautiful name for a little
No, it
girl.
actually is. After I said it, I was like, "Oh my god, yes."
Ketamine.
Annie for short. Ugh,
So adorable.
yeah.
During a televised appearance on October 14th, 1977, activist Thomas Lawrence Higgins pied Anita Bryant in the face with a banana
Yes.
cream pie. Roll the clip, baby. By baby, I mean Davi.
Um, because if you don't flaunt it, who's going to know you're homosexual or not, you see? What they wanted to do was to flaunt it and to not lose their jobs because of it. If we were going to go on a crusade across the nation and try to do away with the homosexuals, then we certainly would have done it on June
Color
the
match
8th after one of the
queen.
most overwhelming victories in the country.
Pasty as hell.
But we didn't. We went into a
Yeah,
place
her
called Norfolk,
foundation does not
Virginia,
match
and
her
were met with
neck.
protests
No, not at
and
all.
all kinds of
This is
problems.
why you need
And
gays.
every
It always startles me.
no.
I'm always lulled into
Well, at least
complacency
it's a
because she's
fruit
so
pie.
boring.
And then you're like, oh,
Oh, he's
something happened.
Let's pray.
he's cute as
Anita, why don't you
hell.
pray? That's all
In his
right.
little tie.
Father, we
Mm-hmm.
want to thank you for the opportunity of coming to Des Moines.
Well, at least
Oh
it's
my
a
gosh, she
fruit pie.
praying?
Ask that you forgive him
Yes.
That we love him.
and that we love him.
So
and that we're praying for him
they let him
to be
stay,
delivered from
and they
his
don't press
lifestyle,
charges.
Father.
And she sobs.
And I just
What a baby.
I don't want this man touched or harmed in any way.
I don't think she's crying for his soul. I think she's crying because it's hitting her how shocked she is. She just got pied in the
You
face
have
in
done your
public.
cause more
Yeah.
harm.
Like when a bird shits on you in public,
You know
and
who's
at first
here?
you laugh, and then you go to
Yeah.
the bathroom and you cry.
Do you know what kind of publicity you're going
I
to get?
love him so much.
So Thomas Lawrence Higgins, the guy who just pied her in the face, was
Oh, is
a
he
conscientious.
racist?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't think
I
so.
thought it was
I
going
don't
to be
think
like
so.
a banana cream pie milkshake duck
No, no, no. We're not
situation.
milkshake ducking him. I just want to do
Okay.
like a brief little aside about him.
Okay, cute.
Thomas Lawrence Higgins was a conscientious objector from the Vietnam War who is credited with coming up with the term gay pride during his
Oh,
time with Minnesota's Queer Student Cultural Center, which was then known as FREE, Fight Repression of Erotic Expression. As
okay,
I said,
that's cute.
it's adorable. And as I said, criminal charges were not filed against him following pieing Anita's face because
Hmm.
I think like she knows the media, like she knows that that would have been a bad look. And then it's much better to just like cry while you're praying for him and to look like the good girl.
To be the victim.
Yeah.
I
To
mean,
be
I
the
guess she got pied
victim.
in the face, but she's only the victim of that. In general,
Yeah.
she is not the victim. Like, she is the aggressor.
Yeah. But she's making it look like she's like a gracious victim. And the only thing that she really
Hmm.
cares about is his soul. They don't file charges against him. After this, he would go on to co-found the Positively Gay Cuban Refugee Task Force in 1980, following the influx of gay refugees from Cuba into the United States, an organization that helped provide resources for refugees looking to permanently resettle.
Oh,
And he died of AIDS-related complications in 1994.
that's what I was
What
waiting
you were
for.
waiting to
And
hear. Yeah.
I
S-
this podcast doesn't exist anymore, but there was probably like 60 episodes or something. It was called Yesterqueer, and I did sort of like a format like this with my co-host where we each researched something and then would present it to each other. And so many of the episodes, even when I was just like talking about the coolest fucking person, it's like, and then they died of AIDS or AIDS related complications, or then they killed themselves, or then they were murdered. And at some
Right.
point, the comedy podcast got
Stop
really
being
heavy
funny.
because
Yeah.
it's just like,
Oh, kind of like
well, they had an
ours.
amazing life. And then he died due to government inaction.
It is like hard to overstate how many boomer gays we lost.
Yeah.
Mostly to AIDS, but then also again, like some like dying by suicide because all of their friends died and their family didn't speak to them anymore.
Suicide, murder, complications from homelessness and the addiction that
Yeah.
often comes with that. Like, it was just a complete societal failure.
Mm-hmm.
If like from every direction, there's
From every
no
direction.
accounting for how many people were actually lost. And that's including, because the way people talk about it and still talk about it to this day, you hear this especially now from anti-trans people when suicide stats are brought up. They're perfectly good with saying like 41% of trans people kill themselves, which is not what the stat actually is when they're using it as an insult. But when you use it as a reason that maybe you should stop harassing trans people,
Yeah.
it's always like those statistics are made up, like that's not real. And it's like, well, like, oh, they didn't say they died due to harassment or bullying. And it's like, well, they were being harassed and bullied at school, and then
Mhm.
a teenager took their own life.
Yeah.
What do you think, like,
What do you think
or the
happened?
amount of people that are especially back then, that were like lifelong bachelors who
Mhm.
lived with their friend who died of AIDS, and then I guess he was depressed for some reason, because then he heterosexually killed himself. You can't count all the ways or all the deaths, because again, for a lot of gay people, it is, or queer people in general, like it can be a invisible minority or a very visible minority, depending
Right.
on if you're like me or if you're just like some average Joe who happens to be a homo.
Yeah. A guy who wears polos
Mhm.
and whose roommate died. Yeah.
Yeah.
The level of organizing the queer community in the United States did to oppose Anita Bryant and Save Our Children prepared them for the AIDS crisis that would immediately follow. Because again, this was like the late 70s. And like
Yeah.
I said, for a lot of like, like gay 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, the very first thing that they did, the very first bit of activism they did was to tell all their friends to stop drinking orange juice. And then within a period of like 4 years, suddenly a lot of their friends started dying. And so it was like this kind of like appetizer to the main course, to make kind of like kind of a crass metaphor, but it really prepared them for,
Like
and that's like hard to
mobilizing.
overstate. Yeah, that's hard to overstate as well. Like the amount of mobilizing and organizing that the
Mhm.
gay community did, and like how young these people were.
This is something that you see when you look at the photographs from gay rights movements, pride movements, the
Mhm.
like early homophile uh
Mhm.
movements before they before they were the gays.
Yeah.
They are so young, and they are
College aged.
and in all the photos they're almost always smiling too. Like, it is just like in the face of like abject cruelty of their friends dying, of people being arrested, like there's still the little smirks on their faces,
Mhm.
just shows how much of that resilience they had, because like, and how much resilience you would have to have.
Right.
Like, the fact that they're still going partying. It's like everybody's dying and we're going to the club tonight. Like
Life is a cabaret, baby. But that's the real root of like joy is resistance. Like
Yeah,
it's not just like giving myself a little treat is activism, but it's like joy and continuing to persevere in the face of death
yeah.
is is a form of resistance. They saw themselves as an important and united political bloc for probably the first time, many of them. And when the AIDS epidemic tore through the community, their experiences organizing politically really helped them both to advocate for themselves on the national stage and to disseminate health and harm reduction tactics within the community that help save lives. Again, like not just being able to go out and protest, but like being able to like all that work printing up zines and telling their friends to stop drinking orange
Mhm.
juice is like what started them going around and like sharing like the public health information that they knew as and when they knew it
Yeah.
that helped save lives, because again, Reagan wasn't doing it until fucking Rock Hudson died. Should we take another ad break since it's gotten a little heavy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rock Hudson ads.
Rock Hudson. Ads for Rock Hudson movies. I've never seen a
Ca
Rock Hudson movie in my life.
No, no idea.
And we're back. I hope you got some good Rock Hudson ads. It's often said that Anita Bryant won the battle, but lost the war on gay rights because while Ordinance 77-4 was successfully repealed, her cartoonish opposition to the homosexuals only fueled mainstream support for queer liberation. She was frequently lampooned by celebrities, including her former USO tour mates, Johnny Carson, Martha Raye, and even Bob Hope himself. And her bizarre statements about homosexuality turned a lot of the mainstream public against her. So, like, people who'd never even thought about gay people before were like, look at this fucking clown. I guess now I
It's
like
like
gay people because I don't want to be her.
it's like listening to Higher Right Chick talk. It's like
Yes. Or
it's like
Graham Linehan. You're like, I don't want to be
yeah.
that guy, no matter what
Yeah.
happens. For example, there's this very bizarre exchange in the Playboy interview that I've referenced a couple of
I
times.
love that you
Um,
did an interview for
with
Playboy as like
Playboy,
Little Miss Christian. That's
like 70s Playboy too,
amazing.
bunny
I
era
know.
Playboy.
Oh,
We have to read this little play, this little section. I'm gonna be
are you
Playboy
sending
and
me
you be
something?
Anita. I'm gonna send you. I'm
Okay.
gonna be Playboy, you be Anita. Do your best, Anita.
Well, I was witnessing to this guy and I didn't let on that I knew he had been a homosexual. And I threw the question at him because I wasn't sure myself and I wanted to find out. I had read about this phenomenon, but I wasn't sure it was true. See, I was at my desk one night and I was reading and studying. It was about 1 in the morning, and when I read about it,
You mean swallowing sperm?
yeah, when I read about it, I about fell through my chair. I said, "Oh God, this can't be true." That was the first time I really knew. I mean, I had seen in writing before what they did in bed and so forth, but I never knew that they ate the male sperm. I just wanted to fall off the chair. So when this guy called, I wanted to really find out if what I read was true. So I said very casually, "Oh, by the way, do you know that homosexuals eat the male sperm?"
What did he say?
He said, "Yes."
And?
And I still couldn't believe it.
Why not?
Well, throughout the Bible, particularly in the Old Testament, men are referred to as trees. Even in the Garden of Eden, when God referred to the tree of life, he was talking about the whole spiritual salvation of men and so forth. And in the New Testament, it says Jesus was called the fruit of the womb, which is very interesting because even the homosexuals know this. Did you know there is a group in Seattle that calls itself the Fruit Loops?
So?
Why do you think the homosexuals are called fruits? It's because they eat the forbidden fruit of the tree of life.
She's so
God
cringe.
referred to men. No, she's the monster energy woman.
Bottoms up and the devil laughs.
Tropicana orange juice bottle. God referred to men as trees, and because the homosexuals eat the forbidden fruit, which is male sperm, there is even a jockey short called Forbidden Fruit. Very subtle. Did you know that?
No, we've only heard of Fruit of the Loom. Okay, first of all, I just have to say that a seed isn't fruit. It's
Fruit, yeah.
the inside of the fruit. So if cum is a seed, then eating the forbidden fruit is gargling balls.
Eating men.
It's
Oh, okay, yeah.
it's sucking balls because balls hold the seed, right? So
Well,
the balls are the fruit. It's
I
gargling
hate it.
balls.
Pains me to tell you, but we do that too.
Also, well, yes, of course. She's
it's
just
like
being incorrect here. It's not swallowing
it's
cum.
cooking your food first.
It's
It's like
gargling
I'm
balls.
doing a sous vide in my mouth.
Okay, also, she keeps saying male sperm, which I'm like,
Male
oh, kind
sperm
of
is
based. She's making
I
room
know.
for female sperm.
I love the
The
idea
female
of
penis.
male sperm. I love
Male
just the name of
sperm.
it, like male sperm, like maelstrom,
Like maelstrom. Yeah.
like maelstrom, like saying it like one word, like it's a last name, like Timothy Maelsperm.
Okay. So that was my little interjection. It does go on.
Oh, okay.
Surely you must know that the eating of sperm is not confined to homosexuals. In fact, it's quite popular in heterosexual relationships these days.
It's true. I agree with you. The abomination is spreading. Ideally, of course, the relationship between a man and a woman should embody oneness with God. the most natural thing is the reproducing of life and having the first fruits from that oneness together. She's talking about felching. She's she's like, okay, honey, in a God honoring way, I need you to come in my mouth, and then we're gonna snowball. Like we're and the
In a
gays
God
do
honoring
that
way.
too.
The abomination is
Snowballing
spreading.
Okay,
Is that
I
it?
will
Is
say,
swallowing it the thing that makes it an abomination? But if you just like
yeah,
spit it back and forth between each other,
gargling is
it's in
fine.
a God
Yeah,
honoring way. Yeah.
I will say she's very easy to read for.
She's
Like,
hilarious.
that was the first time I've ever saw that, and I'm like, "Oh my god, her words just flow so easily from my mouth."
She's a short, simple vocabulary.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But also
Talking
she talks
about
about God a lot.
eating sperm, hating homosexuals, and she mostly uses small words.
You were
Okay,
made to
are we
play her.
twins? You know when characters always play themselves, like Sarah Silverman? That's me
Yes.
in my role as Anita
As
Bryant.
Anita Bryant. In 1998, the Miami-Dade Co in 1998, 98, the Miami-Dade County Commission reinstated the ordinance protecting individuals from discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. And in 2004, the statute
Jesus.
banning gay adoption was ruled unconstitutional. So both of these things are gone.
2004.
4. Mean Girls was out.
That's unhinged.
Insane. So both of these things are gone, but it took a long time thanks to Anita fucking Bryant.
When did same-sex marriage get approved in the
I
States?
think it was '08.
Okay.
Because even like on the campaign trail, Obama was like, I'm a Christian. I don't know
Yeah.
about that. Good old Barack. So this is all very precarious because we are in another period of regressive backlash, and Florida is the home to Trump-backed Ron DeSantis's Don't Say Gay bill, which prohibits the classroom discussion of sexual orientation or gender identity, reproductive health discussion, including the discussion of sexually transmitted infections, and has instituted widespread book bans. Federal laws currently prohibit the discrimination of LGBTQ plus people in employment, but these pieces of legislation have been specifically designed to be weaponized against queer teachers and students, as the definition of discussion of sexual orientation or gender identity is intentionally vague.
Yeah.
So, any discussion of your life whatsoever, oh, I don't need a ride home today to your fellow teacher. My wife is picking me up, could get you fired. So, know your rights. If you are a teacher in Florida and you feel like you have been discriminated against or harassed, contact the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and file a complaint with the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights. Title IX protections also apply to teachers. They're commonly thought of as just for students, but they apply to teachers as well. So if you feel like your constitutionally protected rights are being violated, then contact the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights.
Assuming there's a
Assuming that
Department
still
of
exists when this
Education
episode comes out.
in like a week. I saw some posts today in the like 3 seconds that I was on Blue Sky before I decided, why am I on the internet? Where it was just talking about Trump being like, I think maybe we will get rid of the Department of Education. I think it
That's
would be
really what they
funny.
want. Project 2025 has been gunning for that.
Yeah.
Also, he's talking like sometimes I think I'm in danger, but then also, so like I'm a, depending on how you count it, like a second or third generation American. So sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll just get deported before I'm in danger.
I
I don't think
mean,
so because I'm white, but like, my mom's grandma was
no,
not born here. Like,
no, but you also say mean things on the internet, and
it's
there's nothing they
true.
hate more than that.
Me and my whole family might get deported.
Yeah.
As long as we get deported, like, before bad things start happening.
I would say the mass deportations might be a bad thing that's happening.
Yeah.
So it'd be probably more during.
Alongside some of the other bad things.
A little sidecar of misfortune.
Yeah. In 1980, Anita Bryant divorced Bob Greene, citing his persistent emotional abuse. The divorce alienated a great deal of her Christian fans who saw it as a betrayal of her
Yep.
professed family values. Bob, for his part, refused to recognize their divorce, claiming that due to his fundamentalist views, she was still his wife, which is very funny. Just like sitting
Posting
in your
through
bachelor
it.
pad
Nope,
saying like,
still married.
God, yeah, God doesn't think that we're divorced, and it's like, sir, she's living in another house with another man. You're
Yeah.
divorced.
She's drinking some other man's male sperm now.
It's so true. Well, she's not swallowing, and that's what makes her a
That's true.
godly woman. Well, she's
Her and
spitting it
her
back
husband
inside of him.
are gargling some other man's man sperm.
Yes. In 1988, she attempted a comeback tour for her singing career, performing in a series of Florida trailer park rec rooms.
Dusted, dirty, crawling on the ground, just like begging for another chance at fame. But girl, nobody likes you. You are some
Worse than never coming back
washed
at
up.
all.
A failed comeback like
Oof,
that
so
Carrie Underwood
embarrassing.
cringe
Oof.
as hell. I love the idea of her performing at worse places than most drag queens. Like,
Oh my god, so true. You know, down the road, a drag queen was performing at an
yeah,
actual bar, and she was in a
yeah,
trailer
to like
park rec room.
300 people who were like screaming
Yeah.
her name and tipping her.
Ugh,
Meanwhile,
karma
like
really is great.
70-year-old Jean Benet is like down at the trailer park, like shaking her ass.
My kink might be karma. In 1990, she remarried, and she and her new husband tried for a time to revive her dead singing career before filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy and returning to her home state of Oklahoma. Womp womp. In
Not having
2006,
to return to fucking Oklahoma.
Oklahoma from Florida. Like, there's
Ugh.
not many steps down you can make, but that is one. In 2006, she formed Anita Bryant Ministries International in Oklahoma City. And when I tried to visit their website to find out more, Chrome informed me that it was not safe.
They're right.
So I didn't go.
Like, you're in danger, girl.
Leave. And in 2021, Anita's granddaughter, Sarah Green, revealed that she was struggling with whether or not to invite her grandmother to her wedding to another woman. Sarah came out to Anita when she was 21, to which Anita responded, "Homosexuality is a delusion invented by the devil, and that her granddaughter should focus on loving God because that would make her realize she's straight." When Anita learned of Sarah's engagement in 2021, Sarah's father, Robert, the adopted one, Bob,
Mhm.
said her face froze. All at once, her eyes widened, her smile opened, and out came the oddest sound. Oh,
That's it?
yeah. He continued, "Instead of taking Sarah as she is, my mom has chosen to pray that Sarah will eventually conform to my mom's
Ugh.
idea of what God wants Sarah to be." I also think, like, I mean, I haven't heard from his daughters, but his two sons sound like they're based too. They're like,
Yeah.
we don't approve of mom's lifestyle
Well,
choices.
here's the thing. She sounds fucking annoying.
God,
She
can
must
you
have been
imagine?
so horrible to be around. So anything she's against, they're probably for.
Yeah.
I would
She
be.
made them she made them allies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they might have been homophobic before because they
She
grew up in
groomed
Florida,
them
but she
into
groomed
being
them to be
pro-gay.
allies. They were like, "Mom is so fucking annoying that now
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my daughter to her first lesbian bar as soon as she turns 21, and now she's
Yeah.
engaged."
Save our children, but like ignore our children. like I'll save your children.
Save
My children are
hypothetical
nasty little,
children.
yeah. The like the children as a
The
concept.
idea save
But
the
like my
idea of
actual
children.
children can go fuck
Yeah.
themselves and die.
Yeah.
And one of them's not even my kid. Like,
It's so true. I'm not
save our
responsible for
children, that's
him.
not my child. Sorry. Not in the eyes of the Lord.
There's no update confirming whether or not Sarah invited her grandmother and whether or not she attended, although it's probably unlikely that Anita would attend.
Yeah, I'm like, let's take a fucking guess.
I assume that her granddaughter asked her, and I assume that she said, "I'm gonna pray for you."
Yeah. I'll be thinking about you that day.
And Sarah said, "I won't. I won't be thinking about you. I'll be thinking about my hot wife."
It would have been so funny if she came and there was no wedding. It was
It
like
was just an intervention.
and a fucking ambush. It's just like 100 angry gays with pies.
Oh, cute. I love that. I wonder if that was, like, part of the reason she was like, "I need to know before I send the invitation because I need to know whether to tell my gay friends to bring pie."
Yeah. We need to know. We're actually gonna get the caterer to bring them.
Yeah. I think it would be so cute. Like, at the end of the wedding, obviously, she and her wife walk down the aisle and people throw rice at her, as you do. But then the matron of honor, Miss Anita Bryant, walks down the aisle and everybody throws a pie at her,
Yeah.
just
And a
in a
little like fence
line.
comes up at the end of the aisle,
Traps
like on
her.
each
She can't
side.
run. She can't
Yeah.
run.
She's running back and forth, like trying to get and like climb over, but she's slipping in the
She's
pie,
just in a
in
pen
the banana cream.
like a little piggy. I love it when misfortune happens. I love fantasizing about misfortune happening to bad people.
You know what's fun? When terrible, terrible, violent bullying happens to people that I deem are
That I
acceptable
don't like.
victims.
Yeah.
What a lovely thing.
That's actually really cute. Anita Bryant continued defending her crusade against gay rights until her death of cancer on December 16th, 2024, at the ripe old age of 84.
84 is too
Rest
old.
in pies, Anita Bryant.
Rest in Pie is so cute.
Rest in
Do we know
pies.
where she's buried?
I don't think we do. Her family didn't even come out and say she had died until early January. They waited until after the holidays.
They're like, we
I
don't want to
love that.
spoil a
Like,
perfectly good Christmas.
we're busy. We've got so many relatives coming and we're cooking.
How
Sarah's
long
wife
can
is
you
cooking.
how long can you leave someone in a morgue, do you think? How long do
If
those
we don't come
funeral home
claim her, will they just
drawers?
bury her?
Yeah, they when they finally get her, she's like, what's that word?
Icicle.
You know when
Frozen.
your you know when your food goes bad in the she has freezer burn.
Frostbitten. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. She's
I
got
thought it was frostbitten
freezer
too.
burn.
And then I was like, no, she's freezer
Where
burn.
it tastes kind of funky. Yeah.
Yeah, and she tastes like the inside of a freezer.
Ew. When she's like a weird color.
Don't you hate when your Anita Bryant tastes like a freezer?
Mm. So true, said the husband and preacher's daughter.
Oh, he would have loved Anita Bryant.
With a snacked down.
Ugh.
So I'm Hoots. You can find me at Punished Hoots on Twitter. You can find me on Blue Sky at Hoots. And of course, you can watch my YouTube videos by just searching Hoots YouTube on YouTube. It'll come up.
Mhm, mhm. I'm Kalen Conrad on everything except for Blue Sky, which is just Kalen. I have YouTube. Watch it.
And you can find us at _ Respect the Dead on most platforms, except for Blue Sky, where we got Respect the Dead. If you want to suggest someone else for us to cover, you can do that over on our Patreon. You can get access to our suggestion cemetery, where you can submit a name, as well as a key to the morgue, where we debrief after every episode in our autopsy report minisodes. As I mentioned at the top, we're going to be talking about Anita Bryant's singing career on our morgue for Anita Bryant. And if you're watching on YouTube, where we now have full video for all episodes, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you get notified every other week when there's a new episode. And if you're on a podcast app, give us a sweet little 5-star review. We
Mm.
snack on stars between episodes and we're very hungry. Thanks to Davi Armanino for editing this episode. You can check out their work at daviarmanino.com. And you should, because they're very, very fucking good.
I'm looking at our Blue Sky. Last thing I'll say. The last blue skeet is all caps. Anita, we're coming, you bitch. 25 days ago. And I think that's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. See you in the
Okay,
next one,
bye
bitches.
everyone.
Bye. Rest in
Bye.
pies.